Today, I'm going to be a journalist questioning Donald Trump. And then I'll be Donald Trump giving my answers. And then I'll be Donald Trump giving a speech. I'm Randall Terry, not Donald Trump. This is Voice of Resistance.
Those who forsake the law praise the wicked. Those who uphold the law resist them. Welcome to the Voice of Resistance. Here's your host, Randall Terry.
Before we role play regarding Donald Trump, I would like to deal with a statement that's floating around out there. It's kind of cute, like a 9-year-old being cute. Oh, that's cute, honey. Or a 4-year-old. Oh, that's so cute. Somebody said that Donald Trump was the Winston Churchill of our times. Now, for those of us who are Winston Churchill fans, lovers, students, I've been to his home twice. Was the first person through the gate in the morning, last person to leave, sat in the chair where he used to feed his geese, or rather his ducks, swans. Oh, and his fish too. He would feed his fish. So I snuck over and sat in and got a picture there. There he is, by the way. His bust, his likeness sitting, his graven image sitting on my shelf. Donald Trump is not the Winston Churchill of our times, okay? I'm very, very certain of that. And I'm also happy that Donald Trump is mixing it up with the Republican establishment. I've said that many times. And I can tell you in one sentence why Donald Trump is not the Winston Churchill of our times. And that is because Winston Churchill was captured, as was John McCain. See, most of you didn't even know that. Winston Churchill was a POW, he was a prisoner of war during the Boer Wars. He escaped. He escaped, made a harrowing escape. If they'd have found him, they'd have killed him on the spot. The orders were to shoot him. They knew who he was. They knew that he was the son of Sir Randall Churchill. His family was very famous in England at the time. He was a journalist, but he was a shooting journalist. He wrote stories but also fired. And anyway, he was captured, he escaped, and that helped propel him into Parliament. His exciting and really death-defying escape. Churchill stood plain and clear, unequivocating against the Nazis. One of my sons is named after Winston Churchill. I'm just going to leave it at that. Donald Trump is not the Winston Churchill of our times. If we have to, we'll come back to it. If I was a journalist, I have a TV show. If I was sitting down with Donald Trump, which I probably won't be able to do, but if I was, here is what I would ask him, all right? And the clutch of questions at the beginning are there for priority, and the ones after are not there in a priority ordering. So the first question is this. Mr. Trump, if you are elected President of the United States and the Republicans pass a law to ban the killing of babies by abortion in all 50 states, if it passes both houses and makes it to your desk, would you sign it? Yes or no? Mr. Trump, will you pledge to the American people that you will only appoint judges to the federal judiciary who promise you to your face that they will vote to overturn Roe versus Wade? Yes or no? Mr. Trump, will you pledge to the American people to use your bully pulpit as president to call for the impeachment of the 5 judges who voted for Obergefell, so-called homosexual marriage? Yes or no? Will you pledge to appoint judges to the federal judiciary who will support traditional, sacramental, covenantal, God-ordained marriage? Yes or no? All right, those are the high priority questions. Then other questions would be, Mr. Trump, will you get rid of the Federal Department of Education? Yes or no? Mr. Trump, do you believe, without equivocation, in the Second Amendment, the right of the people to keep and bear arms without infringement? Yes or no? Mr. Trump, do you believe that we should abolish all property tax? land tax? Yes or no? And he might equivocate and say, well, I would do it on businesses. I would keep it on businesses, but on individual families, I'd like to see his answer. Mr. Trump, do you believe that we should phase out Social Security? You're a businessman. You know that this is a Ponzi scheme. You know it's a Ponzi scheme. There is no trust fund where money is set aside. It's all IOUs. Would you allow people to get themselves out of Social Security? If they agree to never take any money when they're elderly, would you agree to let them out now and not pay any money in? Yes or no? I'll be right back with more questions for Mr. Trump. Thanks to friends like you, we have state-of-the-art cameras and state-of-the-art teleprompters and state-of-the-art gear here in the studio. We have one big need, however. We have not yet been able to upgrade our computers. The computers that we use for a television broadcast or to create a documentary are not like the kind that you can just go buy at Best Buy. They are expensive because it takes so much horsepower to create TV series and or documentaries. So I'm asking you, if you want to see this show grow and you want to see us finish the What Would Muhammad Do series, help us get these computers. 3 computers that we need right now are going to be just shy of $20,000. That's the kind of horsepower that we need. Go to the GoFundMe page you see right there. Watch the pilot for What Would Muhammad Do? And if you like the show, give us a gift. Mr. Trump, do you support breastfeeding? That's the joke within the joke. Mr. Trump, do you support pumping milk for breastfeeding at other hours? Everyone's followed that, right? People know what I'm talking about. There's been a hubbub over, never mind if you don't know. Mr. Trump, do you support the NSA's spying on the American people? Yes or no? Mr. Trump, would you eliminate the NSA's program of spying on the entire populace of America? Yes or no? Mr. Pump, that was actually funny. Mr. Trump, do you support, how do you recover from that? Let's just keep rolling. Keep rolling the tape. This is live, ladies and gentlemen. This is live to tape. Mr. Trump. You know, I think that I need to stop there and just pause for a minute. There's about to be a deluge of articles written about his content, his substance. I read one last night written by a journalist who had bought every book that Donald Trump has ever written or co-written. It was either 7 or 8 books. And he read them all. He said, I binge read them. And I found that it was confusing, incohesive, angry, a little bit funny, that he flip-flopped on various issues. So in some ways, people just don't know where the man stands. Now, the debates are coming up. The first debates, my memory is that there was close to 20 debates in 2012, and the Republican National Committee has agreed to allow 10 debates in the primary season. 10 debates for the Republican candidates. So the top 10 people in the polls just before that debate are the ones that are going to be on the stage, all right? So there's people who might not make the cut. Governor Chris Christie might not make the cut. Governor Bobby Jindal might not make the cut. There are people that are, Governor Kasich from Ohio might not make the cut. So, and I don't trust Kasich, by the way, but I digress. I trust Kasich less than I trust Trump. So the journalists that are involved in the debate and the other candidates, like Rick Santorum, who might not make the debate, they have the opportunity to look Trump in the face and say, do you support the Second Amendment? Yes or no? Would you make it a crime to kill babies that are in the womb? Yes or no? You see, this is where we have got to be more sophisticated than we've been for decades. Someone standing up and saying, I'm pro-life or I'm pro-marriage, doesn't mean diddly squat. Those words, I'm pro-life, does not mean diddly squat. I watched a clip of Chris Christie explaining that he was pro-life. Yes, I'm pro-life, and I believe that every human being in the world. He's having to read these words exactly because he's so not pro-life. He had to read the words exactly. I believe that every human being in the womb has value, but I also think that we need to be pro-life from birth all the way to the end of life. And then he just went off. That was it. That was his grand pro-life statement. So the question is, Mr. Christie, Donald Trump, if somebody gets far enough ahead in the political battles to make it a crime to kill babies, will you sign the law? That's what matters. You mean you would put women in jail who are seeking abortion? Of course I would. Of course I would. I would fight for the death sentence for physicians who kill babies. I would fight for the death sentence for them. They're murderers. They're mass murderers. What about this don't we get? So, yes, we have to not let these people off the hook with them saying, I'm pro-life. What does that mean? What does that mean? Does it mean you would make it a crime to kill an unborn baby? That's what being pro-life is. Anything other than that, from conception until birth, is not pro-life. Pro-life with exceptions, pro-life sorta, kinda I feel pro-life. That's not pro-life. Pro-life is, I'll make it a crime to kill a human being if they live in their mommy's womb. Christians must be involved in government, period. If Christians weren't involved in government, we would not have a United States of America. And there have been brilliant Christian minds over the centuries, such as John Locke, who is called the philosopher of American liberty. He was quoted by Clarence Thomas in his recent dissent on the homosexual marriage decision. If we don't understand John Locke, we don't understand the founding of America. I want to send you this book and my book, The Sword, subtitled The Blessing of Righteous Government and The Overthrow of Tyrants. I want to send you these two books for a gift of whatever you can afford. Pay the $8 shipping and handling, which does not cover our costs, and then give a gift of whatever size you want, and we'll send you these books. If you cannot afford anything but the $8, can't even afford that, write us a note, and we'll send them to you for free. I want you to have these books so that you can be better equipped to fight in the political arena. Come on, order them today. All right, now I'm going to pretend that I'm Donald Trump's speechwriter. All right, no, I'm not. Well, I should try. He doesn't have a speechwriter. He doesn't use teleprompters. He's got little notes. You know who else had little notes? This is way before your time, Billy Bob. President Reagan. He had little 3x5 cards that just had, go in this direction on it. And to keep his speeches fresh, either he or one of his staff would shuffle up the cards before he took to the platform. So he had to be able to go from one card to the next and weave them together like if there was a cohesion to it, even though the points had to be covered, but they might be covered in a completely different order. And so there's not a segue at that point that's a normal segue. All right, so Donald Trump doesn't have a speechwriter, but if I was a speechwriter for Donald Trump, I would give him little 3x5 cards. And I would say, Mr. Trump, you've got everyone's attention right now. But at the end of the day, you need certain pockets of support from people. You need them. The immigration issue is a critical issue. It's a life and death issue for America. It's not the only issue, all right? And you cannot get the White House without, say, the Christian right. If the Christian right stays home, if you do not win their hearts and win their trust and win their vote, you lose. You can't win the White House without the Christian right. Just ask President Bob Dole, not. President John McCain, not. President Mitt Romney not. These men failed in their efforts to get the White House because the Christian right, much of the Christian right, just stayed home, wouldn't vote for them. You have to have them. So you have to tell these people the truth, and it better be what they want to hear. So if you're pro-life, you need to stand up and you need to go ahead and make these little hills to die on. Now, he knows darn well that he's not going to get the radical left-wing maniacal supporters of baby killing and same-gender marriage. He's just not going to get them. So I would put on the little 3x5 cards, I'm pro-life, and then let him go at it. I believe Obergefell is an evil decision, or I'm against homosexual marriage, and then let him run at it. I believe in the Second Amendment, and let him run at it with the way that Trump can. I believe that, and then go from there. What are the critical? I believe that the NASA program or the NSA program, spying on the American people, is wrong. I believe that Islam is a threat. Here's what I would do to ISIS. And go ahead and just let him pound on these things. But as much as we in the Christian community have failed to prevail on the life and death issues of our times, the murder of innocent babies and the abominable sin of homosexual behavior, as much as we have failed in a policy level, we still have the ability to vote for candidates or to not vote for candidates based upon those two life and death issues. And whether anybody at the New York Times or the Washington Post or in the Republican establishment or in the media establishment, whether any of them want to admit it or not, those two issues will never go away, and they will make or break candidates at the local, state, and federal level until either we prevail or this republic perishes. So, knowing that these things are not going to go away, and knowing that we better have our priorities straight, let's just hold people's feet to the fire. And if I was Donald Trump's speechwriter, I would say you have to go at these things, because if you don't run at them on your terms, people are going to run at you with them on their terms. Now, the truth of the matter is he used to be pro-abort, now he says he's pro-life. He's a thinking man, all right? This is not a dummy. So the question is he being Machiavellian? Will he say, I would make it a crime to kill babies? That's the litmus test, people. Will he say, I will only appoint federal judges who are against the murder of babies and promise to overturn Roe? And one other thing, I've got to take a break. One other thing for you, the voter. Do I have any money on me? Money matters to me. Oh, there's my passport. Look, money. I have a few dollars in my pocket. Few dollars, a couple of 20s, 10s, 5, all right. Money matters. It matters a lot. I have to buy my family's groceries. I have to put gas in the vehicles, pay for medical expenses for the boys. All right, money matters to me. But the day that I vote for a candidate based upon filthy lucre first is the day that I have sinned against innocent blood. It's the day that I have turned my back on the priorities of God himself. That's why we are in the mess that we are in this country. Because Christian people, perhaps people watching this show, knowingly voted for people because of their economic policies, because of money. Knowingly voted for people that would murder a baby. They put money ahead of innocent lives. And that's how we got in the mess that we're in. The number one issue, because God says so, is the shedding of innocent blood. The number two issue, because God says so, is the abominable crime of so-called homosexual marriage. All right? The church has taught this for 2,000 years. The scriptures have taught it longer than that. Okay? The worst crime being committed on the planet is the shedding of innocent blood. It's a sin that cries to God for vengeance. And then look at Sodom and Gomorrah in the book of Genesis. Read Romans chapter 1 with St. Paul. The crime, the sin of homosexual activity is a crime, a sin that cries out to God for vengeance. And if we will turn our backs on the laws of God and on the things that cry out to God for vengeance in order to pursue money through our vote, economic policies, and candidates, we're doomed. We're doomed. Friend, this TV show represents a mission. It's to be a voice of resistance to the evil in the land, but also to inspire people like you to take a stand at any level that you might be able to equip you, to inspire you, to challenge you, to give you the rhetorical ammunition that you need. But we still have to pay bills. This program, as you know if you're a regular viewer, we don't spend a lot of time raising money. We don't spend a lot of time saying, oh, you need to buy this and we're gonna, no. We're bringing you a message, but we still have bills that we need to pay. I'm asking you, if you have been blessed by this show, to please go to our website or send a check to the address you see on the screen or call the phone number that you see on the screen and use your credit card and to give $50 or $100 or $500 just to help us meet our normal expenses. And we'll keep bringing you this hard-hitting show. I have to veer off of the Donald Trump road, and I hope that you are getting that I'm using it as a backdrop to teach the average Christian who's watching this show. We just picked up, due to a merger of some nature with the Walk TV and another group of stations, we just picked up over 30 new affiliates, and we welcome you. We're happy to be in your city and hope that you will tune in on a regular basis. I count it a privilege to do this program and count it a privilege and an honor to have you watch. You can go to our website and see all multiple hundreds, like 700 shows we've done in the can. Every show that we've ever shot is online for free. Many items that we have are online for free. We are committed to this program because the country is in trouble, and what I believe our mission is to address the issues of the day from a distinctly Christian viewpoint, a distinctly biblical viewpoint, without apology, without equivocation, without compromise. So I hope that you will take advantage of all of the materials that are there. I ask you, as we close out this particular program, I ask you for your prayers. As you know, we spend a good bit of time on this program talking about Islam. For those of you who are new, I have a master's degree from Norwich University, which is the oldest private military school in America. It's a very old and prestigious institution. I have a master's degree from them in diplomacy and international terrorism. A great deal of my study in international terrorism for my master's degree was in Islamic terrorism. This has resulted in multiple death threats on my life, and has made me endeared to some people and despised by others. We are currently in the middle of shooting a new series called What Would Muhammad Do? Lone Wolves, ISIS, and Islam Explained to the West. So what we're doing is we're looking at yesteryear's storyline to understand today's headlines. All right? It's all anchored in Muhammad and his early companions. I'm asking you to pray for us that we could finish this series. And if you can help us financially, we thank you. All right? If you want to be listed as a producer of this TV series, go to our website and you can learn how. Because we've got to buy a bunch of equipment to finish. Thanks to people like you, we were able to buy a lot of the gear that we need. We've got a few more items that we need to purchase. No matter what, whether you can help us or not, I beg your prayers for us to finish this and that the Lord God will keep us safe in the process. God bless you.